I decided today to do a bit more thinning out on this carrot container. We've already done it once and got a meal out in it with little baby carrots. But when you do your carrot thinning, you might notice sometimes as they grow you could have missed a few. But this time I know we've definitely got out what I need to, so everything has definitely got plenty of room to grow. But better than that, we came out with these. They've grown a little bit more since the last time we thinned them. What you can see is easy, another meal there. So 2 bites at cherry or carrot. So we'll get tops cut off those and get them put in fridge. And now this container is definitely ready to carry on growing. We've also got some more French beans ready on this plant behind me. So always remember, the more you pick, the more will grow. And you can see we've got a nice little bunch there. So that's another little harvest for today. I did forget to keep an eye on this plant as well. That is a dwarf French bean plant, and I hadn't looked at it for a week or so, which doesn't sound a long time. But because we left them so long, we're now getting beans this size. They're not ideal, but they are still perfectly edible. I like to chop these into little chunks and add them to whatever you want. So a few minutes later, that is what we got. A nice bunch of French beans, but we've not finished yet. We've still got quite a few cherry tomatoes to take off. We don't want them to over ripen and start to split, so we'll get those moved today. You can't beat fresh, homegrown cherry tomatoes. Surprising how many of these you find when you start digging in. That was definitely worth a look. Look at all those cherry tomatoes, amazing. So that's not bad for now. But we've also got some of this lettuce, and I've got quite a lot of lettuce growing as well. So I'm going to take some of this. You can have a really nice fresh salad. I'm just pinching these leaves off, because then they'll grow back again. There's not going to be much left by the time I'm done. I'm also going to take a couple of these ones. That's a different variety. I'm going to leave the stems with just a couple of leaves on, like that. Clear that bottom. Now we can see. Get rid of any yellowing or dead leaves. We'll take that bottom one, it's not a bad size. And then we'll leave this to continue growing. So not bad at all for a quick harvest. Lots and lots of them cherry tomatoes, a nice bunch of fresh lettuce, and lots of French beans. But of course we've got a lot more to come yet. And when we get to August, we're definitely going to be harvesting a lot more as well. And then it'll be time to start thinking about blanching and freezing. And I think by that time we'll definitely be emptying the rest of those potato containers. But I've just remembered there is one more thing that I forgot to take. I'll do that now. I almost forgot about us cucumbers. The more we harvest, the more we'll grow. And these are miniature cucumbers, so they're definitely ready to go now. And that's still a pretty good size and a great harvest. Luckily I did remember to do these eventually. These are really nice and firm, so they'll store in your fridge for quite a while. Meanwhile, there'll be some more growing. The plant's called Petita and it's a heavy yielding plant, but more important than that, it's more tolerable to UK weather. Just a couple of things before I finish this video. I've had quite a few comments about various things over the last few weeks and I have been really busy. I've got 4 or 5 different jobs on go at the moment, so apologies for any messages that I've not answered at the moment. I do try and answer as many as I can, and a couple of questions we've had have been regarding things like potatoes. Is it too late to plant potatoes at this time of year? And if you're going to grow something like first or second earlies, no, it's definitely not. They only take 12 to 16 weeks to reach maturity, so you've still got plenty of time to grow some of those. Also, I was asked how many potatoes I actually put in these pots. Now the ones that I'm using are more than a 10 litre, they're probably about 15 or 16 litre ones, and I usually put 2 seed potatoes in each pot. If you get something that's like a regular bucket sized container, just put 1 in. And I think Eric did ask me about his seed potatoes that he's still got, and he says they feel a bit soft, and is it okay to still plant them? Usually after a while seed potatoes start to wrinkle up, they start to shrivel, and they can go a little bit soft, but as long as they're not squishy, they're still good to plant. Also, thank you for all the comments regarding those apples, and it just so happened I went out this morning and I picked one of those apples up and gave it a bit of a wash and took a bite, and they're not bitter. They're slightly sweet, they're not as sweet as they need to be, but now I can use them for something anyway, so thank you for everybody that participated in that as well. Someone also asked for a how to pickle onions video, and we've got those on his cooking channel, and I'll leave a link to the cooking channel in the description of this video, so if you want to pop over, I think there's things on there like add freeze potatoes, basic blanching of different types of vegetables, but also a lot of really nice recipes, so maybe go take a look at that. And if you like that channel, then please subscribe to that one as well. I'd really appreciate it. Also, I think it was Kathleen that asked me, is it okay to plant potatoes back in the compost after you've dug some potatoes out? And that will be perfectly fine, but you definitely need to add some feed to that because there'll be nothing left in the way of nutrients at all. And on the same subject, what do I do with the spent compost? And if you follow this channel for any amount of time, you'll know that we saved a lot of compost from last year. And basically, I run it through a sieve, and then I add fish blood and bone, which takes me to the nutrition side of it. If your pepper plants aren't looking as big or as healthy as you might want them to be, then keep adding feed every 14 days. I add fish blood and bone to most of the plants that I grow, but with certain things like tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers, I also make sure that they get plenty of tomato feed. But don't give your potatoes too much tomato feed, because once they start to grow and they get to a good size, you'll end up with more growth on top than potatoes below. So don't feed the green after they get to a certain size, and you should get a really good harvest of potatoes. And lastly, thank you very much to Claire Mitchell for your comment that you made quite recently, saying how much you still enjoy these videos 3 years on. Thank you so much, Claire, for all your support. I really do appreciate that. So, having said all that, back to him outdoors. So another really successful day in this container garden. And if you want to see what we're going to be doing as we approach August, then please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.